Let's cut the crap. You're here because you want to know how you go from nothing to filthy rich. Not some bedtime fairy tale. Real, raw, relentless results. You think luck got him there? No. Vision without execution is hallucination. This story isn't about magic, it's about minded, disciplined pursuit. Vision without execution is hallucination. Let that sit in your mind for a moment. You see, too many people are intoxicated by the beauty of their vision. They draw it on whiteboards, speak about it in boardrooms, even whisper it to themselves before they sleep. They love how it sounds. They fall in love with the idea of what could be. But here's the truth. An idea without the courage to execute is nothing more than a dream masquerading as progress. And dreams, my friend, are free. Execution costs. It is seductive to imagine yourself wealthy, influential, powerful, to picture yourself on stages, in corner offices, at the helm of empires. That vision feels good, it warms the soul, but the marketplace does not reward feelings. It rewards results, and results are born only through disciplined execution. The world is not short of visionaries. Every bar counter, every coffee shop, every neighborhood has someone with a great idea. What we lack are executors, the men and women who take that vision, wrestle it into shape, and drag it screaming into reality. Think about it. History does not remember those who had ideas. History remembers those who executed. The Wright brothers were not the only men who imagined flight. They were the ones mad enough to build wings and crash them until one day they soared. Every entrepreneur with billions today was once just a person with a vision. But what separated them from the countless others who had similar ideas was execution. The discipline to rise when tired, to continue when mocked, to persevere when logic said quit. Vision is attractive because it requires no accountability. You can hold it privately. You can talk about it without consequence. Execution, however, places you in the arena. It exposes you. It demands that you fail publicly, that you be measured, judged, scrutinized. And most people would rather live in the comfort of private hallucination than in the brutal clarity of public execution. That's why mediocrity is crowded, because it costs nothing to stay there. Execution is lonely. It is unglamorous. It looks like late nights, unanswered calls, and bank accounts gasping for air. It looks like doors slammed in your face, investors laughing you out of rooms, clients ignoring your emails. But here's the paradox. It is in that loneliness, that ugliness, that discipline, where greatness is forged. You don't build empires on the high of your vision. You build them in the trenches of your execution. Most people overestimate the value of vision and underestimate the cost of execution. They think vision is enough to rally support, enough to raise money, enough to attract talent. But people do not follow vision. They follow evidence. Show me results, and I will trust your vision. Show me execution, and I will believe you. Until then, you are just another dreamer in the crowded marketplace of ideas. The real wealth in life is not in what you see, but in what you do about what you see. Some of you have been carrying the same vision for 5 years, 10 years, maybe longer. You speak about it at every family gathering. You post about it on social media. But your bank balance hasn't changed. Your circumstances haven't shifted. Why? Because you confuse talking with doing. And the market doesn't pay for talk, it pays for execution. The discipline of execution requires structure. It requires you to break down the grandness of your vision into the mundanity of tasks. It demands that you wake up not asking, "What's my vision?" but instead, "What's my next step?" One phone call, one draft, one meeting, one prototype. Do it, repeat it, refine it, day after day, until what was once invisible becomes undeniable. Here's the irony. When you finally execute, people will look at you and call you a visionary. They will applaud your foresight, your genius. They will say you saw the future. But you and I know the truth. You weren't just a visionary. You were an executor. You were the one mad enough to believe that vision without execution is hallucination, and disciplined enough to turn hallucination into history. Stop worshipping at the altar of vision. Stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect partner. Perfection is procrastination wearing a suit. Move, build, test, fail, rebuild, execute, because the cost of inaction is far greater than the cost of imperfect action. And here's the punchline. Your vision doesn't expire, but your time does. So I leave you with this challenge. Take that vision, as raw and messy as it is, and drag it into the real world. Let it stumble, let it crawl, let it embarrass you. But for heaven's sake, let it live, because the world does not reward the hallucination of vision. The world rewards the courage of execution. And if you can do that, if you can execute with discipline, consistency, and clarity, then you will no longer be the one dreaming about success. You will be the one living it. Would you like me to make this even more powerful with storytelling moments like anecdotes about failures, business lessons, or startup grind examples, so it feels like a real Vusi-style keynote? Motivation is overrated. It's the most abused word in the self-help dictionary. People chase it like a drug, needing their daily fix to feel like they can move. They scroll endlessly for videos, attend seminars, read books, waiting for some external spark to light the fire. And yet, as soon as the high fades, they go back to doing exactly what they've always done. Nothing. Motivation is unreliable. It's seasonal. It's a mood. And moods don't build empires. Discipline does. Discipline is the great separator. It's the line between those who wish and those who win. When you rely on motivation, you are at the mercy of your feelings. When you are disciplined, your feelings become irrelevant. You wake up and do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. That's the essence of true progress. Consistent, deliberate, unromantic action. Motivation is emotion. Discipline is decision. And decisions compound into results. You see, the problem with motivation is that it makes you believe that progress is supposed to feel good. It's not. Progress is uncomfortable. Growth is painful. Discipline is doing the hard things, the boring things, the repetitive things. Discipline is sitting with the spreadsheet at midnight when your friends are out. Discipline is making the call to the client who already rejected you twice. Discipline is going back to the gym after the soreness convinces you to quit. It doesn't feel good, but it works. People admire those who achieve great things and say, they must be so motivated. Wrong. They are disciplined. They built habits that run on autopilot. They trained their minds to ignore the fluctuations of mood. They stopped asking themselves, do I feel like it? And replaced it with, did I do it? That's why they win. Discipline is boring. And that's why most people avoid it. There's no applause in the process. Nobody claps for you when you wake up at 5 a.m. to study. Nobody celebrates the 50th rejection email you send. Nobody records the nights you sacrifice sleep, fun, comfort. But discipline is not designed to entertain you. It's designed to transform you. And the transformation is slow, quiet, and often invisible, until one day it becomes undeniable. Motivation fails you the moment reality hits, when the deal collapses, when the loan is denied, when your body aches. That's when people give up, because their fragile motivation evaporates. But discipline carries you through. Discipline says, I don't care how I feel, the work must be done. Discipline is consistency married to conviction. Think about this. The wealthiest, strongest, most successful people you admire don't wake up motivated every morning. They don't leap out of bed with music playing in their heads. Many days they wake up tired, discouraged, drained. But they show up anyway. They execute anyway. They follow the process anyway. That's discipline. That's the foundation of greatness. The irony is that if you are disciplined long enough, you start creating your own motivation. Results are the greatest motivator. When you see the needle move, when you see the weight drop, when you see the revenue climb, that fuels you far more than any motivational video ever will. But the results don't come first. Discipline does. Discipline is a contract between you and your future self. It is saying, I will suffer today so that I can celebrate tomorrow. It's the price of admission to the life you want. Everybody wants success, freedom, wealth, legacy. Few are willing to pay the daily tax of discipline, and yet there is no other currency accepted. You can't talk your way into greatness. You can't dream your way into wealth. You must execute consistently whether you feel inspired or not. The world doesn't reward you for what you intended to do. It rewards you for what you repeatedly do. Your legacy won't be built on the nights you felt motivated. It will be built on the years you were disciplined. Discipline compounds. One disciplined day becomes a week becomes a month A month becomes a year, and years of discipline produce outcomes that people will call extraordinary. But for you, it will simply be the natural result of ordinary discipline. So stop chasing motivation. Stop waiting for the right mood, the right energy, the right day. Winners are not motivated. They are consistent. Winners don't seek feelings. They seek results. The truth is simple. You either discipline yourself or life disciplines you. And life's discipline is far harsher. If you want wealth, discipline your spending. If you want health, discipline your diet and movement. If you want influence, discipline your communication and preparation. Whatever you want, discipline is the price. Pay it daily, because discipline doesn't fail. It's not a feeling. It's a force. And if you master it, you will no longer live at the mercy of moods. You will live at the mercy of your own unstoppable consistency. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the engine. Sparks fade. Engines endure. Choose the engine. Hope is beautiful, but it is useless on its own. Hope makes you feel warm inside. It makes you believe things can get better. But hope without a plan, without structure, without action, is nothing more than a lullaby. It soothes you into sleep while life passes you by. Hope is not a strategy. It never has been, and it never will be. Strategy is the engine, and execution is the fuel. Hope is just the spark. Without the engine and the fuel, a spark dies in the dark. The problem with too many people is that they confuse optimism with confidence. They think because they believe it will happen. They think if they visualize it hard enough, the universe will conspire. Nonsense. The universe rewards clarity, not confusion. It rewards the strategist, not the dreamer. Hope alone is cheap. Everyone has it. But combining hope with strategy, discipline, and relentless execution, that's where you win. When you walk into the marketplace, nobody cares about your hopes. Investors don't write checks for hope. Customers don't pay for hope. Banks don't approve loans for hope. They demand strategy. They demand evidence that your idea is not just a hallucination, but a structured plan with milestones, risks, contingencies, and pathways. Hope makes you start, but strategy ensures you finish. You can't fight poverty with hope. You can't grow a business with hope. You can't scale an empire with hope. But combine your hope with a strategy and suddenly, the impossible starts bending. Strategy takes that fragile belief and gives it teeth. It gives it claws. It makes it bite back. Strategy is about clarity. It is asking hard questions. What exactly do I want? What resources do I have? What risks am I willing to take? What timeline am I working against? And most importantly, how will I respond when things go wrong? Because they will. Hope makes you dream of a smooth road. Strategy prepares you for potholes, detours, and storms. The truth is this: most people don't lack hope. They lack a plan. They say, I hope to be successful. Wonderful. How? Silence. They say, I hope to be wealthy. Excellent. What's your wealth creation strategy? Silence. They say, I hope to change my life. Perfect. Show me your blueprint. Again silence. Hope without strategy is cowardice. It's outsourcing your future to luck when you could be building it with precision. When you combine hope with strategy, something remarkable happens. You give your vision a spine. You turn belief into architecture. Suddenly, your goals stop being fluffy words and start becoming structured targets. You stop saying, I hope one day, and you start saying, by this date, through these actions, with these resources, I will. That is the difference between amateurs and professionals, between the average and the exceptional. Ask yourself this: if your future depended on hope alone, would you bet your life on it? Of course not. You wouldn't board a plane built on hope. You wouldn't go into surgery with a doctor who only hopes it works out. You wouldn't invest your life savings in a company that hopes to be profitable. Then why do you treat your own future with such recklessness? Why do you run your life on hope when everything else that matters to you demands strategy? Hope is emotional. Strategy is logical. You need both. Hope keeps you alive. It keeps the fire burning when the nights are cold. Strategy keeps you moving when the road is hard. Hope lifts your spirit. Strategy directs your steps. Hope whispers it's possible. Strategy shouts here's how. But let's be clear. Strategy without execution is as useless as hope without strategy. It's not enough to have the plan. you must live it daily. Strategy on paper is potential. Strategy in action is power. You must operationalize your hope. Break it into numbers, tasks, deadlines. Discipline yourself to act on it until the results come. You want to change your life? Then stop hiding behind the cheap comfort of hope. Stop telling yourself that tomorrow will be better without deciding how you will make it better. Combine the fire of hope with the sharp blade of strategy. Sit down, design the path, commit to the grind, and walk it every single day. When people finally call you successful, they will say you were lucky. They will say you were hopeful. But you will know the truth. You didn't just hope. You strategized. You executed. You suffered through the hard days when motivation died and discipline carried you. You knew that hope was the beginning, not the end. And you built a future that could withstand storms, because it was not balanced on fragile dreams, but rooted in strategic foundations. So, don't just hope to win. Build a strategy to win. Don't just hope to change. Design the change. Don't just hope to rise. Architect your rise, because the world does not reward the dreamer who hopes. The world rewards the strategist who executes. And when you become that, hope plus strategy will not just help you survive. It will help you conquer. The most valuable skill you can ever develop is the ability to see what others cannot, to see the invisible, to recognize patterns before they reveal themselves, to hear signals in the noise, to spot opportunities that look like chaos to everyone else. Wealth, power, and influence are not created by doing what everyone else does. They are created by those who look at the same landscape, the same market, the same world, and see something completely different. The truth is this: most people only see what's in front of them. They live reactive lives, responding to events after they've already unfolded. They wait for proof before they believe. They wait for certainty before they move. And by the time they act, the window has closed. The ones who win are the ones who anticipate, who interpret, who position themselves while everyone else is still debating whether change is coming. Seeing the invisible is about sharpening your perception. It means asking better questions. While others say, "This is the way it has always been," you ask, "Why does it have to stay this way?" While others complain about problems, you ask, "What opportunity hides inside this problem?" The invisible is not mystical, it's simply overlooked. The marketplace rewards those with the courage to look differently. Think about every major innovation in history. The internet existed before most people realized it would redefine commerce. Mobile phones existed before anyone imagined banking, shopping, or media would live inside them. Cryptocurrencies, artificial intelligence, renewable energy, all of these were invisible opportunities before they became obvious. And by the time they became obvious, the real wealth had already been made by those who saw the invisible early. The invisible requires courage, because when you see it, nobody else will believe you. They will call you crazy, reckless, unrealistic. They will laugh at your vision, but that ridicule is confirmation. You are ahead of them. Seeing the invisible means you are walking roads that haven't yet been paved. You're investing in ideas that sound absurd until they become inevitable. And that is lonely, that is risky. But that is also where transformation lies. Most people are blind not because they lack sight, but because they lack perspective. They are so busy chasing comfort that they cannot see possibilities. Their eyes are fixed on survival. Their vision is trapped in today. To see the invisible, you must lift your eyes beyond your current circumstances. You must train yourself to zoom out, to think not just about where you are, but about where the world is going. This requires imagination married to logic. Imagination shows you what could be. Logic tests it, refines it, structures it. It is not enough to dream, you must design. Seeing the invisible is not daydreaming, it is disciplined foresight. It is the willingness to look into the fog and map the path, knowing that clarity will come only once you've already started walking. But let me warn you, seeing the invisible without acting on it is useless. Ideas are cheap. Opportunities are worthless if left untouched. The difference between the dreamer and the visionary is execution. The dreamer talks about the invisible, the visionary builds it. The dreamer waits for validation, the visionary acts in faith, guided by conviction and strategy. When you train yourself to see the invisible, you stop playing small games. You stop competing where the crowd is thickest. You start creating new games, new markets, new opportunities. That's why those who see the invisible appear to have an unfair advantage. They are not fighting for scraps in crowded spaces. They are building new tables where they decide the rules. Look at your own life. How many invisible opportunities have you ignored because you lacked the courage to act? How many times did you see a gap, a problem, an idea, and then talk yourself out of it because it wasn't safe? Safety is the enemy of vision. By the time it's safe, it's too late. The invisible demands risk, and risk is the entry fee for reward. To see the invisible, you must also change who you surround yourself with. The wrong crowd will blind you. People consumed by gossip, fear, and mediocrity cannot help you see beyond the obvious. You need thinkers, dreamers, strategists, people who stretch your perspective. Conversations shape vision. And if your conversations are small, your vision will remain small. The invisible is not far away. It is right in front of you, hiding in plain sight. It's in the inefficiencies people complain about, in the industries nobody wants to touch, in the discomforts everyone ignores. Train yourself to look again. Ask, what is everyone missing? What will matter tomorrow that looks irrelevant today? What truth is hiding inside this chaos? That's how you see what others can't, when you see it act. Don't wait for the applause, because it won't come. Don't wait for permission, because nobody will give it. Don't wait for guarantees, because they don't exist. Move with conviction. Move with discipline. Because the invisible becomes visible only to those brave enough to make it move. So the challenge is simple. Stop looking with your eyes only. Start looking with your mind, your imagination, your foresight. Stop waiting for certainty. Start training your ability to read the future in the present. See the invisible, and when you do, don't just admire it, build it. Because the future doesn't belong to those who wait for proof. The future belongs to those who saw the invisible before the rest of the world caught up. Would you like me to expand this with a concrete business example like early investors in tech, or someone spotting an overlooked market so it hits harder like a live stage story? Wealth is not money. Wealth is not a car, not a house, not a paycheck. Wealth is a mindset. Until your mind shifts, nothing in your life will shift. You can earn more money and still remain broke, still remain trapped, still remain enslaved to the same cycles. Because money without a wealth mindset is temporary. It slips through your fingers. It finds its way back into the hands of those who know how to multiply it. Wealth is not the number in your account. It is the philosophy that governs how you think, how you act, how you build. That's why so many people chase paychecks their whole lives and never escape financial struggle. They confuse income with wealth. They assume that if they could just earn more, all their problems would be solved. But here's the truth. More money without a wealth mindset just makes you broke on a higher level. You upgrade your lifestyle, you increase your spending, you accumulate liabilities dressed as assets, and you keep running faster on the same treadmill. The scenery changes, but the trap doesn't. A paycheck rewards your time. Wealth rewards your thinking. When you trade hours for money, you are capped, because there are only so many hours in a day. But when you trade ideas, systems, structures, investments, your upside becomes limitless. That's the mindset shift. Stop thinking like a laborer, start thinking like an owner. Stop seeing yourself as a consumer, start seeing yourself as a creator. Wealth is not about what you earn, it's about what you preserve, what you grow, and what you can pass on. Here's the problem. Most people are trained to think like employees. From school to work, you are conditioned to show up, obey instructions, wait for a reward at the end of the month. That thinking creates dependence. You outsource your destiny to an employer, to a government, to the economy, and then you wonder why you never feel free. The wealthy are not waiting for a paycheck. They are designing systems that pay them whether they show up or not. Wealth begins in the mind because it requires a new relationship with risk. Poor mindsets avoid risk at all costs, clinging to safety, afraid to lose. Wealth mindsets understand that risk is the entry fee for reward. They don't gamble recklessly, they calculate, they strategize, they diversify, but they move. They know that doing nothing is the biggest risk of all. If you want to shift from paycheck thinking to wealth thinking, you must learn to embrace intelligent risk. Wealth is also a mindset of delay. The poor mind chases instant gratification. New clothes, new phones, nights out, validation from consumption. The wealthy delay gratification, channel resources into assets, let money work for them. They sacrifice the applause of today for the freedom of tomorrow. That's not about income, it's about discipline. That's why two people can earn the same salary, and one builds wealth while the other remains broke. It's not the paycheck, it's the mindset. Another shift is ownership. The poor mindset sees ownership as expensive. The wealth mindset sees ownership as leverage. The poor rents, borrows, consumes. The wealthy acquires, builds equity, controls. Ownership is not always glamorous. It might mean starting small. It might mean being patient. But ownership multiplies over time. If you are renting your life away, your time, your skills, your money, then you are feeding someone else's wealth. If you want freedom, you must own. Wealth is also about learning. A paycheck mindset says, I know enough. A wealth mindset says, I will never stop learning. Because the world changes, markets shift, opportunities evolve. The wealthy stay students of life. They read, they observe, they invest in knowledge. They know that ignorance is expensive and information is an asset. The paycheck mindset waits to be trained. The wealth mindset self-trains, self-develops, and stays ahead. And let's be clear, wealth is not greed. Wealth is not about hoarding money. Wealth is about capacity. When you shift your mindset to wealth, you create capacity not just for yourself, but for others. You employ people, you fund ideas, you create opportunities, you build legacies. A paycheck feeds you. Wealth feeds generations. A paycheck ends when you retire. Wealth endures beyond your lifetime. So here's the challenge. Stop worshiping the paycheck. Stop tying your identity to the number on your payslip. That is not who you are. That is not your potential. Ask yourself instead, how can I grow my capacity to own, to invest, to multiply? How can I design systems that pay me long after I stop working? How can I shift from survival to legacy? The transformation starts with one decision: to think differently, to stop asking, how much do I earn? And start asking, how much value do I create? How much do I keep? How much do I grow? Once your mind shifts, your behavior follows. And once your behavior shifts, your reality cannot remain the same. Wealth is not found in a paycheck. Wealth is found in perspective, in ownership, in discipline, in vision. Shift your mind and you will shift your life. Because until your thinking changes, no amount of money will ever be enough. But once your thinking changes, even the smallest seed can grow into abundance. Would you like me to layer in real life contrasts like an employee vs. an entrepreneur earning the same income but ending up worlds apart, so it feels even more like a live case study? So here's the hard truth finish. You're either a strategist or a spectator. You either rig discipline into your life or hope someday you'll wake up rich. Filthy rich isn't a title you wait to get. It's a habit you build daily. Be strategic, execute, see the invisible, train the mindset, build the legacy. Then, and only then, will the world whisper your name in boardrooms and fund desks. Now go disrupt everything.